guys, my name is Bridget and today we're going to be talking about Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. I've heard good things about We Were Liars and I haven't really heard anyone talking about this one. I decided to give it a shot and I hated it. So we're going to be talking about why I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. Before I start actually delving into why I didn't like it, I will give you a non-spoilery summary of the book. It centers around a girl named Jewel who is a fighter and able to blend seamlessly into the background of any scene she wants to. Her best friend is Imogen, a runaway heiress. They're both orphans and this book is filled with mystery and murder, and it's told backwards, so it starts with chapter 18. Those are about all the details I can give you that aren't spoiling the book. Honestly, this book was terrible, so you shouldn't really worry about being spoiled because it sucks, so keep watching. So let's get into discussing the actual details of what went wrong with this book. I'm gonna put it down. You've seen it, right? There it is. There's the cover. Okay, let's put it down. I'll start with positives. There were only a few, so this shouldn't take too long. It was a very quick read. I wanted to keep reading to find out what was behind this mystery. It was an interesting premise. I know a lot of people had issues with the story being told backwards. I don't actually think that's where the story went wrong. I found that to be one of the better parts of the book. It would have been really boring if it was told the other way around. It was good that we kept seeing connections between the past and the future. I thought that was really interesting, but it did get annoying after a few of the connections because they're repeated word for word. And for such a short book, there were so many things that were just repeated word for word in the past and present. I love connections, but it was a bit much. So now let's get into the real negative. First, we're going to start with discussing the side characters. Forrest, Imogen's stuck-up boyfriend that was writing a book and was very happy with himself. I feel like Jewel disliked him a lot more than she needed to because she was just as stuck-up as he was, and yet every 5 seconds she saw him and she was like, he's so stuck-up. What a prick. And I'm like, girl, you're just as stuck up as him. You're just judging him because you want him out of the way. And I get that the main reason that Jewel probably didn't like him is that he's getting in the way of her being with Imogen and spending all this time with Imogen, but like, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, Brooke. There's not much to say about Brooke. She's an alcoholic and no one really cares for her, and the main point of her being in the book is to show that Imogen's attention is wanted by everyone and all her friends were fighting over her because she's just like a perfect person. Obviously, she had to be killed and for some reason no one found the body and realized that she was murdered. Paolo, he just kind of randomly pops up like 2 or 3 times in the book, and all of the times he's there, he's just utterly infatuated with Jewel, who's pretending to be Imogen at the time, because naturally, she's stunning, and she won't stop telling us that throughout the book. She's a beautiful woman, and she will know that. Like, sure, I totally am here for body confidence and people being like proud of being good looking, but it was a bit much for her to just be like, I am so beautiful, guys, the whole time during the book. And actually, he can't be with her because she's pretending to be Imogen and she can't have attachments. He doesn't do much for the plot. Also, you would think he knows what Imogen looks like enough to recognize that Jewel is not Imogen because their parents are good friends, but I guess not. I guess Jewel just looks so similar to Imogen that like, it's impossible to tell them apart, which that is a running theme throughout the book. Don't get me wrong. But I just find it very hard to believe that these two people look exactly alike. Basically, all the characters are extremely superficial and have no real depth to any of them. The main characters aren't much better, so let's get into them now. Jewel, our main character. I didn't understand Jewel's background at all. It was so confusingly written. I get she's supposed to be like, I wrote this backstory for myself. But what was the real story? Her parents died when she was little, right? Okay, but then what happened? I'm so confused. I'm confused where all this training to blend into her surroundings and fight people and talk her way out of things and cover up her tracks all came from, because there's literally no explanation for how she got all of these abilities. I don't know anything about Jewel and who she is and how she became the way she is in this book. And she's the main character. I also didn't like her at all. I get that she's trying to be every action hero from the movies ever. I know what that looks like. You don't have to repeat that to me so many times throughout the book. I should get it from her actions and not from the book telling me that she is. She also didn't really have a personality because she's constantly trying to imitate other people and be them. Who is she really? What is she like? What does she dislike? I have no clue and I read 262 pages about her. Also, how many times do we need to describe her outfit? I feel like every other page I was hearing about how she's putting on new lipstick and her little hoop earrings. I get it. I get it, she's fashionable and I get you want to describe what she's wearing. It's almost like a Wattpad book where they're like, and then I curled my hair and it was perfect, but I don't try too hard and I got lipstick on and everything. Like, I get what she looks like and I get she likes makeup and I get you want to describe that, but you don't need to do that so often. I'm all for women being superheroes and everything, but I don't need it described to me every 2 seconds. I should be getting that from her actions. As I said before, her actions should be showing who she is and what kind of hero she is. But all of her actions showed that she wasn't a hero at all. You're constantly like, oh yeah, remember, she's like all these action heroes who did the same thing. I'm like, I got it. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Okay, let's talk about Imogen, her best friend, kind of, person she's obsessed with. You know, that girl. Or Immy, because that's what we called her. Immy. Immy was your typical spoiled heiress who gets away with anything she wants and everyone is fawning over her and she has to choose her special people to be with throughout the book. She's a horrible person and I didn't feel for her at all. Like, she died and I was like, okay, I saw that coming. Also, Jewel and Imogen looked so similar that no one questioned her at all. She could pass through levels of security with like the airport and just all the people around her and be like, yes, I am Imogen. And everyone just believed her. I get Jewel can transform herself, but that seemed like a lot. Okay, let's talk about the plot because it was a whole mess. I kept reading to find out what the mystery was, right? Right? Well, I never got an explanation. Jewel never really had any motivation for what she was doing at all throughout the book. Like, what? And it all just seemed happenstance. Like, this happened to happen. When I thought it was going to be some grand scheme that she was constantly trying to set up. I don't understand how she went from randomly meeting some lady in the bathroom and her being like, oh, you are my kid's friend that I remember from childhood. Do you want to go check on her in the islands? And she's just like, yes, I will drop everything and go look at this girl. And then she gets to be close friends with her and murders her and takes her identity? Who is Jewel and why is she doing this? We never get an answer. Just seems like a really big jump for her to uproot her life for some girl she doesn't even know and then to murder her and steal her identity. Where is the connection here? I don't understand. And I think that's mainly with the flaws of Jewel's character because I don't know who she is and I don't know why she's doing this and we never get a reason. The book was also very predictable. I assumed she murdered Imogen, and when we heard about Brooke, I was like, she probably got murdered as well, and look, she did, you know, naturally. Also, you find out about Imogen being murdered like halfway through, and that's supposed to be the big mystery. It's like, who is Imogen? Why is she pretending to be Imogen? And then you find out she murders her like halfway through the book and you still have like 100 pages left. I'm like, it's all downhill from here. We can't go up from here. Like, yes, the first chapter ended on a cliffhanger and you're like, what's gonna happen in chapter 19? Well, we'll get to that in a second, but it wasn't good. I get though you wanted to learn how Jewel got there and how Jewel came to murder Imogen and take her identity, but we didn't learn anything because I still don't know Jewel's motivation. Okay, the ending. Let's discuss it. The book starts with Jewel running away from the detective. And it ends with her also running away from the detective. There is no conclusion there. What? I think I would have been fine with the open ending if we had known Jewel's motivation for doing all of this. If she had some reason that she was like, I did all this because blank. And then she's running away again. And I'm like, yeah, you go, girl. You go run away from the police and escape. But she didn't have a reason. So we're just left with this other open conclusion where she hasn't been caught and the police are still looking for her, just like they were at the beginning of the book. Nothing changes, there's no resolution, there's no explanation for why any of this is happening. Sometimes I'm all for an open ending. I get it, you want to leave it ambiguous. But for this, I'm like, who is she and why is she doing all of this? That's what I want to know. And that's what this book should have given me. What? What? So that was my rant review for Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. I give it 2 out of 5 stars. And honestly, the more I talk about it, the more I want to give it a 1 star because it just annoys me so much that you don't know who Jewel is. Like, who is she? I read all of these pages about her and I still don't know who her character is. It's very confusing to me. I feel like your main character should be very fleshed out. I think she was going for an unreliable narrator, and yes, she's very unreliable. But also, I feel like I should know who she is in the end and like her motivations because she's the one who's murdering all these people, and yet there's no reason. I'm still mad about it. Honestly, it's been days since I read it and like I'm still pissed. Thanks for watching me rant about this book for quite a bit. I had a lot of emotions, as you can see. I expressed a lot of them here. Let me know down in the comments if you agreed with my review of Genuine Fraud and if you also hated it, and if you would like an explanation for why Jewel is doing all these things. Or if you have an explanation, please let me know because I have no clue. And I read all of these pages and I went through it again to skim it for this review and I was like, who? Who is she? Like this video if you enjoyed hearing me rant about books, and please subscribe to my channel because I will be making more reviews for books in the future. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be up very soon, so see you guys then. Okay, bye!